You know, when it comes to finding gold, sometimes the biggest discoveries aren't actually made with a drill. Sometimes they're made with a pen, by piecing together a scattered landscape into one single powerful asset. Today, we're diving into Gold Hunter Resources and their very specific strategy, their playbook really, for unlocking value in one of the hottest gold districts on the entire planet. And their whole strategy? It starts by solving a puzzle that's been hiding in plain sight for decades.
So our story kicks off right here in Newfoundland, Canada. Now this isn't just a map. Think of it as a puzzle. For years and years, nobody could quite solve it. You had all this valuable land, but it was split up into dozens of tiny little pieces, all owned by different people. That made any kind of modern, large-scale exploration pretty much impossible. Gold Hunter's whole idea is built on one core concept. What if we put all those pieces back together?
So that begs the question, right? Why Newfoundland? And why all of a sudden has it become the epicenter of this modern-day gold rush? Well, the answer is this powerful combo of just world-class geology meeting a tidal wave of new investment that has completely put this region on the global map. First off, you gotta understand, we're talking about a world-class or Tier 1 place to operate. The Fraser Institute, which is a huge benchmark in the industry, ranks it in the top 4 places on Earth for mining investment. So this isn't some risky, wild frontier. This is a pro-mining region with proven geology that has grabbed the attention of some really big global players.
And you can just see the sheer speed of what's happening right here. This is not a slow burn, folks. This is a tidal wave of mergers and acquisitions. I mean, just look at the names and the numbers. Marathon, Newfound Gold, and that massive, $4 billion+ merger. It's a feeding frenzy, with companies literally racing to stake their claim in the district. And if you add all of that up, you get this: over $5 billion in recent deals. Now, that's not just investment. That's a massive vote of confidence from the market. It validates the potential of the entire region. This number? This is that unprecedented consolidation wave you keep hearing about.
Okay, so in a market that's this hot, how does a smaller company even begin to create value? Well, Gold Hunter's answer is a very deliberate, repeatable strategy they call the consolidation playbook.
First, you have to get your head around the core problem they wanted to solve. For generations, this incredibly promising land was like a checkerboard of small, disconnected claims. You could have amazing geology, but if you only own one little square on that board, you can never see the whole picture. That fragmentation was the single biggest obstacle to finding a major discovery.
And this quote from the company's CEO, Sean Kingsley, just nails it. It perfectly captures their solution and their ambition. It's not about owning a single isolated project, a dot on the map. It's about controlling an entire geological system, a whole district, so you can see the patterns that nobody else could.
And this is exactly how they do it. Their playbook is a simple, repeatable, 4-step process. Step 1, they act as consolidators. They patiently buy up adjacent properties, a lot of times when the markets are down and nobody's paying attention. Step 2, they digitize everything. Every old map, every soil sample, every drill log gets put into one massive modern database. Step 3, they layer on the new tech, things like advanced geophysics and AI, to analyze that complete dataset and find the absolute best places to drill. And finally, step 4, they execute. Either they drill those targets themselves, or they sell the now de-risked and way more valuable district to a bigger company. Now, a playbook sounds great in theory, right? But the billion-dollar question is, does it actually work in the real world? And that brings us to their first major success story, a deal that proved the model and created a ton of value for their shareholders.
Yeah, you could say it worked. It worked to the tune of over 48 million Canadian dollars. That's the value they created from their very first consolidation play, which they ended up selling to a company called Firefly Metals. This wasn't just a small win. This was an absolute game changer.
And the company's take on this was crystal clear. This success wasn't just some lucky break. It was a validation of their entire model. It proved that their systematic, district-scale approach was the right one, and, just as importantly, that the team could actually deliver on the strategy they promised. So, with a proven playbook and cash in the bank from that Firefly deal, what does the team do? They immediately went after an even bigger target. This is their next chapter, a project that takes that same winning formula and applies it on an even grander scale.
Welcome to the Great Northern Project. We're looking at that same map, but now you can see the incredible scale of their new consolidated district.
For the first time in history, over 26,000 hectares and more than 50 kilometers of gold-bearing structures are all controlled by one single company. The puzzle is now complete.
And hey, remember step 2 of the playbook? Build the database? Well, the scale of the data they've compiled here is just staggering. We're talking tens of thousands of soil and rock samples, data from almost 500 historical drill holes. Then they flew a modern VTEM survey over the whole thing. Think of it like a high-tech MRI for the Earth, mapping geology deep underground. And now, they're using machine learning to analyze it all. The AI can spot these subtle patterns across millions of data points that a human eye might miss, helping them zero in on the highest probability targets. This complete data set, that is their strategic advantage.
And this slide really shows you the transition they're in right now. The column on the left, that's all done. The consolidation, the VTEM survey, building the database, they've spent 18 months in careful preparation. Now they're shifting to the column on the right, execution. That means prioritizing those targets and getting ready to launch their first major drill program.
And that brings us to the climax of this whole story. All of this work, the consolidation, the data, the targeting, it's all building towards one single critical moment. An inflection point where all that potential is about to turn into tangible results. So this raises the million-dollar question, why now? What makes this specific moment in time so important? Well, it turns out there are 3 really powerful forces all converging at the exact same time.
The first force is regional proof. Right next door, the massive Valentine gold mine just poured its very first bar of gold. This is huge. It proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that you can permit, build, and operate a big, profitable gold mine in this exact geological setting. The economic model isn't a theory anymore, it's a reality right down the road.
The second force is the macro environment. Gold is trading at or near all-time highs. And what that means is the market is paying very, very close attention. A significant discovery in this kind of environment could see its value get amplified like crazy compared to a discovery made when gold prices are low.
And the final force is the peer signal. We saw it on that M&A timeline earlier. Investors are actively rewarding companies with this exact consolidation strategy. Capital is flowing into these kinds of stories, which means when a company has a clear plan and is ready to drill, the funding is there to make it happen.
So you've got all 3 of these forces converging on one single event. The most important catalyst on the horizon is the company's first systematic drill program across this newly consolidated district, and it's scheduled to start in the first quarter of 2026. This is where the playbook finally meets the ground. And we'll just end with this final quote from CEO Sean Kingsley, which I think says it all. The preparation is done, the land is assembled, the data is compiled, the targets are being finalized. It's a statement of pure focus, conviction, and readiness. It leaves you with one really clear thought. After years of putting this massive puzzle together, the hunt is finally about to begin.